Hello and welcome back to this edition of Bayou Time. I'm your host, Keith Whiteside, licensed clinical social worker. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it very much, but I can tell you we're always glad for local leadership. Welcome back into the program, Philip Martin, Superintendent of Terrebonne Parish Schools. Philip, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Keith. Glad to be here.
You know, I don't know that people really understand how bad things were to really appreciate the fact that kids have been able to get back to school. It's been a monumental task, and I'd kind of like people to know how bad things have been and challenging for you guys.
Yeah. Keith, obviously the results of a Category 4 hurricane on our entire community have been catastrophic. And, you know, schools are a reflection of a community.
Mm-hmm.
When things are tough for a community, things are tough for the school system. And
right.
Things have been tough for our community, and it's been reflected in the school system. You're absolutely correct that we had major damage at many places, and 21 days after the storm, we opened a lot of schools. Now, we opened with Band-Aids.
Right, right.
And if people are looking for normal, that's not what we are.
No.
You know, we're going to get back to normal,
right.
But we're not anywhere close to that.
We're as normal as we can be right now.
Yeah, that is correct.
Put Band-Aids on some of these big holes.
And the schools and some schools are fairly normal, quite honestly, but many are not.
Right.
You know, we have platooning going on, and you know, if platooning was a good thing, we'd be doing it all the time.
Right.
But it's platooning. You
right.
know, it's the only option you have. Now, there are other options that people look at sometimes, but the option that puts kids in front of a teacher the most minutes in a week is platooning.
Right.
And we have experience last year with kids doing other things in front of a teacher. The success rate is not good.
Right.
Nothing beats
face-to-face
live, in-person teacher in front of the kids, and the scheduling format you use that gets the most of that is the best one.
Right.
Now, platooning is not anything anybody wants to do. And we're sharing schools. You know, we have two schools shoehorned into one. You know, those are not things that we want to do or plan to do. Those are things that we have to do if we want kids in school.
Right. And let's look at some pictures that really echoes why we're having to do it that way. So, Jen, let's run those. This first one here at Grand Caille, I want to say.
Yeah, you know, anytime you're in a building and you can see the sky, you know it's not a good thing. You know, and you know, that's an example of what was fairly common in many places.
With a lot of those roofs.
You know, we had roof damage. When the roof peels off, then the water comes in. Right. You know, that's another picture of the same place. You can see that's the inside of a classroom, and you're looking up at the sky.
And that's what happens when the roof comes off over a classroom. Yep. That's where we're trying to.
Yep. And there's kind of a domino effect. You know, one thing leads to another, and the first thing you have major catastrophic damage.
Right.
That's an Evergreen. That's the front building, the one closest to the road.
Again, you can see the sky.
You're looking at the sky,
and you can see the damage that it creates.
The damage was very extensive.
Right.
That's Upper Little Caille. All that metal you see piled up there, that's the roof.
That's the roof that came off from somewhere else.
The entire roof peeled off like a banana, and it's in the front yard.
Yeah, and we have a second shot of that from the other side, just looking at how bad that is.
From the other side of the school. So, you know, that gives you a little glimpse of Upper Little Caille, which probably had one of our most significant damages. That's Mulberry.
Mulberry, I thought you told me.
That's the backside of Mulberry. Again, you know, you can see bricks laying down on the ground.
This is part of the roof, I think, there.
Yep. You know, a picture's worth 1,000 words.
It just really is.
You know, when you look at that, when you tell someone damage is bad, and you know, I heard that, but when I went actually look, the first school I went look at was South Terrebonne, and they said, Superintendent, it's bad.
Yeah. And then you saw it.
You don't really appreciate until you actually see it. This is By Black Elementary.
By Black, right.
You can see the whole corner of the building, and part of the roof is blown off there.
And all the water damage that goes with that.
Well, and then, you know, this is the gym inside of Oaklawn. Fortunately, Oaklawn's gym was not a wood floor,
Right.
So we were able to salvage that, but you can see that it also had significant issues that took place there. And there's the foyer of the gym at Oak Lawn.
And just look at all the things that are missing there.
Yeah, and-
What is missing in this picture?
And you know, it's you walk into place. This is the backside of ST. You can see a brick wall is
On the
blown out
athletic
there.
building. Right.
South Terrebonne, the entire roof peeled off.
Right.
The entire roof was just peeled off.
And so when the roof comes off like that, you get this kind of damage in a gym that's had this wood floor in it since 1966.
Well, you can see the wood floor there. It looks kind of like a skate park.
Yeah, when you said that last time you were on, I tried to imagine it, but like you said, picture's truly worth 1,000 words.
Yep.
Nobody can imagine that until you see it, or if you're standing in front of it and you look at it.
And again, you can't see it in this picture, but you could see the sky.
We've got some good news that we've heard this week. Let's just talk about hearing the news and what that means to you from the governor.
Yes, Keith, as you know, we had started the school year. We had actually started the school year under masks were going to be optional, voluntary.
Right.
Governor's mandate, which we respect his authority and his decision, and obviously we had not much choice to follow it.
Right.
And so we were under a mask mandate for the kids and the teachers while they were at school. The governor just recently revised that somewhat, in that it's not mandatory if you're following CDC guidelines, of which we will, which is a minor adjustment for us.
And that's for 28 days. It's kind of this trial period, just to make sure that we
you
don't
know,
get
we
into
hope things will work. You know,
Right.
the positivity rate is down to what I consider manageable levels. We would like it to be zero,
Sure.
obviously.
Oh, right.
And you know, any percentage is too high.
Right.
But it's not as alarmingly high as it was at the beginning of the school year. You know, before Ida, it was really significant. You know, even in the schools, we were having more and more quarantining and things such as that, and it seemed to be spiking. Well, that seems to have leveled off, and not only leveled off, also decreased dramatically. So I'm certain that our kids and our teachers are thankful that then if we encourage people, if they want to wear a mask, please do.
Yeah, and you know, there are some teachers, students, family members, extended family
Absolutely.
members that say, I want my child to wear a mask, which
I've
is
heard for some people say, my children are going to continue to wear them, and we respect that.
Right.
And you know, we are firm believers that many things should be a family decision, and this is when we agree that it should be mom and dad deciding.
Right.
So we're thankful that the governor gave us a plan where at least that's an option for school districts, and
Right.
we've taken that option, and from what I'm hearing, you know, I think it's been well received, and you know, we're still going to do the protocols, cleaning of the buses and everything else that go connected with it. Basically, the only thing that will change dramatically is that mask will not be mandatory. Now, in doing that, it was a little bit of a trade-off.
Okay.
And that the state superintendent had issued that quarantining would be up to parents.
Okay.
And we did that.
Right.
Well, now, with the governor's mandate, if you don't want to wear a mask, you got to follow CDC guidelines, which means 14-day quarantine.
14-day quarantine
But,
if you're exposed.
You know, mask is for every kid every day.
Right.
Quarantining may never happen to you. So
Right.
we felt that it was best to give parents and kids and teachers the freedom that occurs daily as much as possible, with the possibility there may be some quarantining issues down the road.
And the other advantage to this is that you talked about earlier about an in-person teacher in a classroom, no matter whether it's platooning or whatever the process is, but now you've got a teacher that doesn't have a mask on, and the kids can actually see their face, and you can reply and respond.
That is absolutely, you know, I think the effectiveness of kids and teachers are going to be enhanced.
Yes.
I just do.
Enhances the learning
You
opportunity.
know, we've all worn the mask. You know, when
Sure.
when I was when I go to a place that I'm supposed to have the mask on, and like in schools, I have it on. But we all know that it's not the most comfortable thing in the world. At least it wasn't for me. Some people it may be okay with.
Right.
But I do think it's going to create the, in terms of children and especially teachers when they're talking, through the muffled,
Masking, right.
That I think is going to increase their effectiveness. And you're 100% right. Nothing beats a live teacher with kids.
Right.
There are other alternatives. None of them are as good. Last year we did everyday instruction all day, and our results were dramatically different than other parishes who did not. This is not saying somebody did something right or something wrong.
It's just about how you're managing.
This is just clear evidence that a teacher in front of the kids, if we're in the education business, we're here to educate kids, it's clearly the best way to do it.
Yeah.
And that's our obligation, that we need to provide our children what we feel is the most effective to get a good, strong education. And that means a teacher in the classroom.
Yeah, and we know that 93% of communication is nonverbal. And so it's not necessarily what the teacher is saying, but how they're saying it. And now we get to see that interaction that really makes a lot of the teachers, certainly in Terrebonne Parish, so dynamic, because now they can kind of come back to life and they can get that learning opportunity that it's so good.
Our teachers are simply amazing. Our teachers and administrators, I am so impressed with what they've done, what they did through COVID, and what they're doing now post-Ida, particularly in those schools and communities that were heavily impacted. Our teachers are being so compassionate and effective, and we're dealing with 2 schools in 1 school, and they're being patient and understanding with the kids. At the same time, learning is happening.
Yeah, and it's more challenging than we ever thought it would be. But again, your team and your administrators, your teachers, and all of the staff are up to the task. And you just can't say enough about them.
Well, and we appreciate our kids and our community, because they've been very supportive, and we continue to ask for their continued patience, is that we continue to mend and recover from Ida. It will be a long recovery. You saw the damage.
Absolutely.
It's going to take a long time to get all of those schools, because every school has some things to be fixed. Some are very extensive.
Yeah.
But we will get there.
Well, and we appreciate that. We appreciate your leadership with them, and we've got your back. Our community will take care of each other, and it's reflected in the schools. Can't thank you enough.
Thank you, Keith.
All righty. That'll do it for this edition of Bayou Time. Don't go anywhere. A whole lot more local programming as we continue.